session together. Uh, then we got to sing national anthem of Republic of Indonesia and March of Telkom Technological Institute of Purwokerto, and continue with remarks from our head department of logistic engineering. Then presentation session from the expert that will guided by the moderator. After that, we will be documentation session to documenting our event today.
Okay, participants are expected to be able to take part in this event from start until to the end, and hopefully can bring us some great question in the end of this event, because there will be a magnificent surprise for those we give us the best question. And you can give your question by write down it to the comment section or by raise your hand and ask your question directly. Your question can be in Bahasa or in English. And I would like to remind you guys to fill out the attendance form that we share for the certificate.
Okay, has been present in our midst, Head of Department of Logistic Engineering, DTP, dear Mrs. Nabila Nurkistani, STMT. Good morning, Mrs. Nabila. Mrs. Nabila. Okay, maybe we're gonna wait a minute.
Okay, then our great expert, Professor Jerry Perigi. Thank you for your presence, sir. We're glad you're here. Good morning.
Good
How are you
morning.
today? Good. How are you today?
Very well,
Professor?
thank you. Good morning.
Please wave your hand to the camera, sir.
Can you hear me? Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. And not to forget, the moderator who will accompany us throughout this event today, Mrs. Ratih Windu Arini, STMT. How are you, Mrs. Arin?
Okay, thank you, Hanin. I'm good, Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Please wave your hand to the camera, Mrs.
Yes.
Thank you. Great. And yeah, thank you for all the attendants who can be here. We honor the Institute Teknologi Telkom Purwokerto lecture, then logistic engineering student, and all the attendants who cannot we mention one by one.
Attendance that we respected, before we start this event, let's pray together to the God so that this morning event can run without any mistake. Praying start. Bismillah. Praying end. Amin.
Next, let's sing the national anthem of the Republic of Indonesia and some of the Telkom Technological Institute of Purwokerto together. For all attendants, please be ready and sing together.
Kembangkan riset teknik terkini, menerapkan manfaat teknologi. Kembangkan peradaban bangsa berdaya saing tinggi, kinerja profesional. Jalin kerjasama kualitas nyata, ITT Purwokerto jaya selamanya. Institut Teknologi Telkom Purwokerto, penyelenggara pendidikan teknik, unggul dalam pengembangan sains teknologi dan teknik berbasis telematika, membentuk pribadi yang memiliki keahlian, beriman, bertakwa, berakhlak mulia, serta berkiprah dalam dinamika pembangunan Indonesia tercinta. Mari berkarya untuk negeri, pantang mundur untuk mengabdi. Kembangkan riset teknik terkini, menerapkan manfaat teknologi. Kembangkan peradaban bangsa berdaya saing tinggi, kinerja profesional. Jalin kerjasama kualitas nyata, ITT Purwokerto jaya selamanya.
Okay, next, let's listen to remarks from Head of Department of Logistic Engineering IT Telkom Purwokerto, Mrs. Nabila Nurkistani STMT. Dear Mrs. Nabila, are you ready?
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, thank
Okay, this
you.
time is yours.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Okay, good morning. First of all, I would like to say welcome and greetings from all of us to Mr. Feriji. I hope you can enjoy giving a guest lecture. And I want to appreciate the lectures and help organize this event, especially Himpunan Mahasiswa Teknik Logistik and Kantor Urusan Internasional Institut Teknologi Telkom Purwokerto. I hope this event can become a reference for students regarding research in the field of supply chain digitalization, gitu ya. Especially because we are from the logistic engineering study program, which discusses our problem regarding supply chains. Okay. Once again, welcome and enjoy the event, Mr. Ferry. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mrs. Nabila, for your remarks. May all hope came true and there is no obstacle whatsoever. Okay, before we go to the next agenda, let me remind you again, don't forget to taking part to this event until it's ended and give your best question to our expert because the door prize are waiting for you in the end of the event, which is the best question giver.
And yeah, I would like to remind you guys to fill out the attendance form that we shared for the certificate. Okay, without further ado, our next agenda is presentation from our expert and will be guided by our great moderator. She is one of logistic engineering lecturer in Institut Teknologi Telkom Purwokerto, Mrs. Ratih Windu Arini STMT. Or usually we call her Mrs. Arin. How are you, Mrs. Arin?
Okay, Hanin and Rui, I am good today and also very
Alhamdulillah.
excited today.
Yeah, we will invite Mrs. Arin to take over the event for materialization. So yeah, Mrs. Arin, the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you, Hanin and Rui, to give me a time. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Good morning everyone on the room. Welcome to the International Logistic Lecture of Supply Chain Digitalization, Future Research and Opportunities held by Logistic Engineering Bachelor Degree Program in collaboration with the International Office of Institut Teknologi Telkom Purwokerto. And also, can you turn off the mic first? Okay. with the collaboration with International Office of Institut Teknologi Telkom Purwokerto and Himpunan Mahasiswa Teknik Logistik Institut Teknologi Telkom Purwokerto. Okay. And then greetings to the Honorable of the Head of Logistic Engineering Bachelor Degree Program of Institut Teknologi Telkom Purwokerto, Ibu Nabila. And welcome to the speakers, Associate Professor Ferry G from the Edith Cowan University, Australia. It is a pleasure for us to have you today. And also greetings to the Logistic Engineering of Telkom University lecturers who have joined with us today. And also to all participants attending here. Thank you for joining today's lecture. I am Ratiwindu Arini, will be the moderator of today's topic. Our topic today is supply chain digitalization, future research and opportunities. And it is a very interesting topic, as we know that the complexity of supply chain is continuously increasing, aligned with the development of technology and digitalization era. So it is the best topic for us to get into in this lecture from Associate Professor Professor Ferry G. And especially for me personally, that has been interested in the supply chain resilience system, triggering from the COVID-19 pandemics that disrupt the global supply chain. For your information, in our logistic engineering bachelor degree program, the supply chain topic is over in our third semester, in our third year, and the digitalization topics of logistic is over as an elective subject. And also, before we start, I would give an information that the lecture will be in 75 minutes and then will follow by the question and answer session. As a further information for the participant, there will be a selection of the best participant questionnaires who will be chosen by Associate Professor Jerry at the end of the discussion. So I hope everyone will give us the good questions. And then before we start, I would like to introduce to you our speaker, Associate for Professor Ferry G from Edith Cowan University and has a PhD at the University of Sydney. Associate Professor Ferry G is currently an associate professor in Edith Cowan University and also a fellow of the Chartered Institute Logistic and Transport and also part of the Supply Chain Logistic Associate of Australia and also Chartered Institute Logistic and Transport Australia as a committee. And you can see in this screen that he also have some professional experience and also has some research interest in business analytics, project management, supply chain management, logistic operation or product management, and also quality management. Associate Professor Ferry G has maintained a high quality of research throughout his academic career, including international scholarly leadership in the area of supply chain management and logistics, including regularly being invited as a keynote speaker in some countries, and also has published more than 88 referred journal articles, including 51 articles in Q1 ranked journals, 12 articles in Q2 ranked journals, and also other articles. Okay, Professor Jerry, have you ready to give us the lecture? Hello? Okay. Can you unmute the
Yeah,
speaker?
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So can I just share my slide if you don't mind? The
Okay.
host can be able to share the screen.
Okay, Prof. Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you share the slide now?
Okay, just try. Hopefully it's working. Yes, it is working.
Okay,
All right.
please
So
welcome Associate Professor Jerry. The time is yours for 75 minutes. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you so much, Bu Rati. So good morning and everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So thank you so much to invite me for Institute Technology Telkom in Purwokerto in Central Java, isn't it, in Java Island? What I'm going to present today is Supply Chain Society 5.0. So in Society 5.0, it's pretty much is Industry 5.0. So we are in entering Industry 5.0, right? So in Industry 5.0, we also have what we call digitalization or technology oriented. So this is my details and this is my WhatsApp's number if you want to reach me for having any questions or for research collaboration, just text me in WhatsApps. Okay, so the moderator has introduced me about my details. This is for my research grants. The first research grants I just received recently in the Australia Research Council linkage project about supply chain risks and uncertainty in Australia agribusiness. And the second project is already completed early this year about digital competencies in Australia energy industry. And the third project was the post-COVID-19, which is supply chain continuity and supply chain resilience, building capacity building and upskilling post-COVID-19. The project already completed and already published, journal articles in the Q1, which is the supply chain resilience. And the fourth project is transport system investment risk. This is funded by iMove Australia. That's project already completed and producing 1 or 2 papers in there. And the last 4 projects already published in the papers in international journals. You'll be able to download and for you to get access the research project or the papers. So talking about the industry revolution. So first of all, in early 1880, right? It's 1800 centuries, 18th centuries. So the craft production job shops, this is the first industrial revolution. So then 20 years later, so closely, the second industrial revolution's 19th, 20th century, starting with electrical and energy-based mass production. And then in early 1980, the third industrial revolution, that's why we have internet-based knowledge, computer, etc. Toyota production system, just-in-time philosophy, that is, late 1970. And then the flexible manufacturing systems, reconfigurable manufacturing system, RMS, CIM, computer integrated manufacturing, it's pretty much during industry 3, which is the third industrial revolution, right? And then afterwards, the AI, big data, cloud-based technology, that is industry 4.0, and virtual reality, robotics, sensor technology, etc. And for industry 5.0, which is the adaptive cognitive manufacturing system, the fifth industrial revolution with the human interaction, and that's why we are in a society 5.0. So my presentation pretty much, in early 2025, and are we entering industry 5.0, which is the society 4.0. So I would like to propose the framework in the supply chain society 5.0. Okay. Society 5.0, this concept originating in Japan, envisioning a highly connected, technology-driven society that integrates physical and digital worlds seamlessly. In this stage, supply chains are expected to be even more advanced, with a focus on sustainability, circular economic principles, with all the technology orientations there and human-centric design. So that's, Society 5.0. So the Industry 4.0 is a lack of human-centric design. So with the Society 5.0, we have one pillar, what we call human-centric design, to be added into the technology, the existing technology Industry 4.0, IoT, digital twins, AI, machine learning, deep learning, virtual reality, augmented reality, robotics, automations, warehousing, etc. Okay. So everybody knows in this room about supply chain management evolution or history of supply chain management. So when I produced my doctoral dissertation, I wrote one chapter about the evolution of supply chain. Supply chain right now, the age of supply chain is about 34 years old. So not that old, right? It's, what we call is adult, good enough for that. It's 34 years old because it was born in early 1990s. So the early 1960s, during Industry Revolution 3, the activity fragmentation to 1960. So demand forecasting, purchasing, the manufacturing inventory, production planning, warehousing, the material handling, packaging, finished good inventory, order processing, transport, strategic planning, the internal within organization, we got department like marketing, finance, sales, information, services, etc. So the activity fragmentations. And then early 1980s, well, between 1970 and 1980s, it became two big dimensions, the purchasing material management, and the second one is the physical in distribution. And early 1980s, that's the integrated logistic was born. So logistic first, integrated, then supply chain philosophy in 1990s, okay? So the people sometimes asking question, is it the same logistic and supply chain? It is not the same. Logistic is a part of the supply chain management function. So if you look at the supply chain management, it is management of all activity that facilitate the fulfillment of a customer order for a manufactured good to achieve the customer satisfaction measure at a reasonable cost. The value propositions in the supply chain, the customer satisfaction, cost minimization, profit margins, etc. So they require several operational activities. First thing is working closely with suppliers. Okay, so we work very closely with suppliers, with the upstream supply chains. How do you have the raw materials, spare part components, etc. So we also connect with the procurement, purchasing, with all your suppliers of the vendors. And then we require transportation, right? So that's a logistic transportation, including, the warehouse, the distribution centers, etc. Transportations, there are several kind of transportation modes, using by truck, by rail, by sea, by aeroplane, by pipeline. That's transportation. And demand forecasting, demand forecasting is very important. It's in terms of demand fulfillment. So, and then the next one is inventory decision, in terms of how do you manage inventory level in your business? How do you minimize inventory level? How do you avoid the stock out issues, in your business and managing risk and uncertainty. That's one of my big project right now to deal with the supply chain risks and uncertainties. And that's one of we call supply chain disruption. And my doctoral dissertation in supply chain performance in Australia beef, red meat industry. So about 15 years ago, that's my doctoral philosophy, completed from the University of Sydney, which is the G8 university in Australia. Then sustainability is a triple bottom line, so everybody knows that the economic, social, environmental impact, sustainability, people, planet, and profit. A lot of papers about supply chain sustainability research project in the last 7-8 years in terms of recycling, reverse logistics, decarbonization, all the recycle, remanufacture, etc. So about the carbon counting, the level of CO2 for the transport, the logistic, green transport, green supply chain management, all about green, including your background, isn't it, Bu Rati? All green, isn't it? And Ibu Hanin Fia, right? The MC, all green. Now, Supply Chain Society 5. What is the Supply Chain Society 5? People said, oh, I never heard about this Supply Chain Society 5. Supply Chain Society 5 is the integration of digital technologies. That's our topic today. It's about digital in supply chain. AI, machine learning and deep learning, advanced analytics in supply chain management. And what is the purpose of Supply Chain Society 5? It aims to create highly efficient, sustainable, interconnected supply chain ecosystems. Okay, just underline that interconnected supply chain ecosystem. So just giving you a couple model supply chain in a cereal company. For example, Kellogg cereal manufacturer company, Kellogg, Nestle, Milo, different kind of supply chain for cereal company. If you look at upstream supply chain for cereal like Kellogg or Milo, everybody loves Milo with your drink with every breakfast. You got first tier is a flour processor, corrugated manufacturer, and second tier you got farmer, you got plumber provider, chemical processor, and you got third tier in upstream, you got oil company and forest. Then for downstream supply chain, for cereal, you got grocery, you got retail, you got consumer, right? So supply chains, product, services, everybody knows in this room. And supply chain not only product flow, but also information and planning. The second example, I want to show it to you about supply chain in hotel industry, a services supply chain. So supply chain is not only for product, not only for the goods, but also for the services. The hotel management company, you got the upstream, which is the mattress supplier, food services. A second tier, which is you got framing, cement contractor, and you got third tier, you got plumber provider, and then you got downstream, of course, you got Novotel, you got Mercure, and you got Ibis Hotel, you got Santika, Ciputra Hotel, for example, that you got brand hotel, and then you got business traveler, which is the consumer or leisure travelers. So the supply chain service framework is not necessary for service itself, but also for information and planning. So that's why you got, Agoda, yeah? That's why you got Traveloka, right? The information. So everybody can go to booking.com, Agoda, Traveloka, for example, to book any hotels for accommodations. That's information sharing. What is supply chain? I don't want to explain more details about this. There's very popular definition according to one Institute for Supply from Texas in United States, Association for Operation Management from US, and Council of Supply Chain Management Professional, the United Kingdom. The planning and management of all activities involved in sourcing and procurement, confection and all logistic management activities, also includes coordination with channel partners. So which can be suppliers, intermediaries, third-party service providers, and customers. Okay, so that is the definition supply chain management. All right, can I just share with you, ladies and gentlemen, there's a couple videos. One of the examples you can see supply chain implementation in the supermarkets in Australia. Okay, so you'll be able to watch and listen to supply chain, one of the example in supermarket there. Okay, so I think hopefully everybody can see my video presentations. I just want to show it to you. Everybody can see now. And please listen and take notes if you don't mind. Thank you.
Coles has been part of the Australian retail environment for over 100 years. Starting from a single store on Smith Street in Collingwood in 1914, we've now transformed into the nation's #1 supermarket with over 750 supermarkets, 800 liquor stores and 600 convenience stores. With a workforce of over 100,000 nationally, it's quite a big operation, as you can imagine, to move all of these products around the country. We have a distribution centre network of 25 DCs, which we have in every state with the exception of the Northern Territory, which move millions and millions of pallets every year and billions of individual items into store for sales to our customers. As you can imagine, on a business as large as Coles, we rely heavily on our business-to-business or B2B e-commerce. We use this in conjunction with our partners at GS1. We use a whole bunch of their tools, so our trade identification numbers, so all of the barcoding, etc., that you see, not only on the individual items you'll buy at store, but on the master cartons that move through our DCs on pallets, which allow us to efficiently and easily track everything moving through our system. This has real advantages for us at Coles in the fact that it allows us to utilise such things as the electronic data interface, and in particular the advanced shipping notices, ASNs. The real benefit of this is it allows our suppliers to send through to us in advance of all of the shipments they're sending into our DCs, which once the DC are aware of that and is coming in, allows them for fast and efficient receipt into the DC and further put away. And with millions and millions of cartons and pallets passing through our network every year, the ability to put these to bed quickly into the DC is really, really key. Another great feature from GS1 is their recall tool. It is a really fast and efficient tool that allows us to send an email through the system directly to all the distribution centres at stores and track where every single item that is under a recall notice is in our network, and it can be pulled as quickly as 30 minutes after we've got notification of a recall or withdrawal notice.
Okay, so if you look at Coles supermarket, as you can see, Coles is the largest supermarket, and we have another video presentation about Woolworths, fresh food people, and that's what we call about supply chain in Australian supermarket. You'll be able to download my paper about supply chain analysis in Australia supermarket like Coles and Woolworths. If you look at Coles as one of the example, digitalization in supply chain, tracking and traceability for product, any kinds of product in the supermarket, they can track and managing in the inventory using the technology, barcoding and scanning technologies, to track the product, to monitor the inventory, to measure inventory level, right, for any kind of products in the supermarket. So if you look at one of the example, that another case study about Woolworths, right, a fresh food people. So can everybody see my screen?
I'm the Produce Operations Manager
Yes,
in Western Australia. It's my job to liaise with the operations and the buying team to ensure that we get the produce to our customers on time and the freshest possible way we can. A lot of the stock we receive will arrive sometime between 4 o'clock in the morning and 10 o'clock in the morning, and we'll have that dispatched to our stores for sale up until 10 o'clock the same day. On an average week, we'll shift 170,000 cartons of produce for our DC, and this goes up at peak times of the year like Christmas and Easter.
I'm Jim Trandos from Trandos Farms. Trandos Farms is a third generation company. It goes back to 1939. Trandos Farms supplies sweet corn and beans to Woolworths. I spend a lot of time in stores. I like to go and have a look at the product. I like to walk in stores, see what consumers are after. If someone picks a product up, puts it back down, I ask them the question, why did you put that product back down? What don't you like about it? What do you think we can improve on?
We see Jim and the likes of Jim really getting out there. They love their product, they love what they do, and they especially love when they come into stores and see how much the consumers enjoy their end product.
There's been some great partnerships in regards to Woolworths in recent times, especially in the last couple of years with some great promotions of product. It's very important when they get behind the product and we get behind them and supply a good product.
The key importance to us is to make sure that we have safe, fresh food for our customers. To enable this, all our fresh trade partners must be WQA qualified. What that means is they have certification for Woolworths quality assurance standards. This involves a comprehensive range of tests that they must pass in order to supply us with fresh, safe food.
Trandos Farms is an in-house consultant that does our QA. Some of the benefits you get with the QA system is good traceability of your products, where they've come from. And if you marry that in with your accounting system, you can get some pretty positive results.
It's just fantastic to be able to get out and visit the growers and to see where the product comes from. There's a lot of hard work goes into actually getting the product onto our shelves, and I know that our farmers take great pride and care in what it is that they do to make sure that they work with us to deliver the freshest possible produce that the Australian consumer can have.
Okay, so if you look at Woolworths, fresh food people, that one of the example as well. So if you work in retail, like supermarket, like Woolworths and Coles, supply chain skill, knowledge, capabilities is very important, especially, when we talk about the quality management, quality control in fresh produce, right? Woolworths, use quality control, quality assurance to ensure all the products that they sell to the consumer, the final consumers, they really trust with the product fresh. That's why the motto is a fresh food people. Okay. Now, I have another video presentations about the supply chains tips for the businesses. There are 10 tips for the supply chain businesses when they improve their supply chain, but it depends on the time. But if the time is not possible, then I can send you the link for you to watch later on in your own time. Now, what we're going to have in the framework of the supply chain technology, when the order processing, typically the process ordering, when you order product, placing an order. So first thing, order preparation, order transmittal, transferring order information to the system, order entry, checking the inventory level, check the accuracy, checking credit as well, billing, transcriptions, and back ordering, order canceling if anything's happen, and then order fulfilling. You also need to check the packing of for shipment, scheduling for delivery, or in Australia, with Coles and Woolworths introduce click and collect, not necessary to deliver to your home, to your house. And also the consumer can choose click and collect. So click and collect, you can look at in online apps at Coles and Woolworths, and you can choose what's the time, where is the location for you to collect your shopping items. And basically, after you click the shopping cart, choose the product what you want, and before you do the payment, you only need to choose the time, location, including the preferred time for you to collect. If you don't want the option, you also can choose what time is for delivery. So, and also attached with the frequent flyer. So, what we call flybys for calls, everyday rewards for Woolworths, for example. So for the membership, you can get points. And then for every 2,000 points, you can get $10 credit in your account. So that is something we talk about, you know, the digitalization in terms of supply chain retailing, what's going on up to now. And of course, the final thing is the order status reporting, tracing, tracking, communicating with customer on order status. Now, that supply chain digitalization, you know, historically is a supply chain information system. So that meaning that supply chain information system, it consists of 3 pillars. The first pillar, what we call OMS, Ordering Management Systems. In that pillar consisting of the stock availability, credit checking, invoicing, product allocation to customers, and fulfillment location. And the second pillar in the supply chain information systems is a warehousing management system. So I'm sure like Amazon.com they use automated warehouse system, the warehouse management system. The stock level, order picking, picker routing, picker assignment and work loading, and product availability estimating. And the third pillar, what we call the transportation management systems. So transportation management system is very popular, like Pauline Fox, DHL, Australia Post, Indonesia Post, for example. I'm sure they use the transportation management systems. They can look at in terms of the express post, express parcel, vehicle routing, the mode selection. Are they using by road, by sea, or by aeroplane? And including tracking as well, in terms of tracking customer number, that the parcel, literally you can see what the estimated time arrival, and you'll be able to see in your apps, in the transportation management system. Now, within organization, you have the internal and external stakeholders, which are the finance, marketing, logistics, manufacturing, purchasing. Those are internal stakeholders. Now, the external stakeholders, you can see you got competitors, and you got customers, you got third-party logistic providers, you got supply chain trading partners, you got carriers, and you got suppliers, for example. So I just want to give you another example. When I did project a couple of years ago with the Australia mining supply chain, copper mining, that's one of the example supply chain structure for end-to-end for copper mining supply chain. So you can see the raw material until customer, including port operation. Now, port operation for Australia for mining, it goes to global. This is what we call the global supply chain, it's global logistics, because we use truck, rail, and port, right? Those 3, they are transportation mode for Australia mining industry. okay, including Australia red meat, live animal, cattle, beef, lamb, kangaroo. We also export to more than 87 countries around the world. For live animal, we export using by port, by sea freight, and it takes up to 4 and 8 weeks to go to Asia markets. It will take between 8 to 10 weeks to go to the European markets. So that's a live animal. So we also hiring for feedlotters, for those giving feed to the animals in the boat, right? So that is end-to-end for the international supply chain for Australia red meat or cattle industry. So for example, that introduction for Western Australia is a significant hub for the mining industry in Australia. So major commodity, for example, iron ore, in Western Australia is one of the world's largest producer of iron ore with major mining operation in Pilbara region. The second major commodity is gold. The major global producer for gold are typically in gold fields and gas coin. And lithium, these states has also significant deposit of lithium in WA, nickel, also world largest nickel reserve with mining region in Goldfields and Pilbara. So the mining region, I think I mentioned to you, there are 5 different regions in Western Australia. Pilbara is very popular in iron ore deposits, and Goldfields, Esperance, a key gold producing area. Midwest, which is the region, has a diverse range of mineral resources like metals, gold, and including gas coin as well. So gas coin is mostly is a mineral, right? Mineral including ilmenite and zircon, and Southwest is alumina and including mineral sands. So what is the future research in supply chain digitalization? The research in the mining sector, for example, what I've been doing right now in the Societies 5.0, digital twins for end-to-end feasibility supply chain. So what is the digital twins? Digital twins pretty much technology to create future replica operations. These allow for real-time monitoring, simulation, optimization of processes, leading to increased productivity and reduce the environmental impact. So the creating digital twins for mining operations involves different kind of steps. So I can show it to you in the next slide. Data collection, what data needed, the primary data needed for the mining operation, maybe geological data, composition, structure, equipment data, location, performance, weather condition, and environmental data, humidity, water conditions, air quality, operational data in terms of the material flow, in terms of the capacity resource utilization, safety, people working in the organization, including safety protocols, and what is the geospatial data in terms of maps, satellite images. This is very important to determine where the location deposits like golds, lithium, mineral, etc. Because we need to have geospatial data, satellites images, etc. Okay. Now, digital twins after data collection, of course, you need to integrate and process into a centralized platform or database. Of course, all the process you need to format, normalizing data, make sure it's consistent and accurate. Digital twin definitely is a quantification model. It's dealing with modeling and simulation, right? So it is mathematical model. to represent the physical process system within the operation. So you got your data, that's we need to have the mathematical computation model. And then we need to have the second feature is a real-time data streaming. You implement system for real-time data streaming and processing. It is continuous updates, monitoring of digital twins to ensure decision, for the decision-making process. Data visualization and user interface, okay? AR, augmented reality, virtual reality. Look, virtual reality, you also can do that in a teaching space. When you teach at classroom, so you can use a virtual reality, for the user interface, etc. So that the digital twin to visualize that, you can design that. And the next research, for Internet of Things, everything of Internet, the sensors, Internet of Things for real-time monitoring in the supply chain. So it's a very, very good topic for research for up to 12 months, 24 months, and 36 months. It depends how complex your model, right? It depends complexity of the devices, sensors, because all these kind of research methods, we need that verification and validation, right? So that integration with Internet of Things and sensors. So drone technology, with the subsea, with the mining company, they use drone, what happening underground, 300 meters there. If you use people there, well, we prefer using drone with the sensor. They can capture the data, what's going on underground, then they can share the data to geologists and check whether any deposits, minerals there, anything there. I'm not geologist, so I do not know, but I'm a supply chain expert. So that is sensor drone technology. IoT can help with any decision-making process. Predictive analytics and deep learning. So extension of machine learning is a deep learning. Implementation machine learning algorithm to analyze historical and real-time data set. That's it. Okay, that's the objective, the machine learning algorithm. Pretty much predicting future trends is a forecasting in advanced technology. Machine learning can do that. Optimizing, of course, providing actionable insights. TQM principle, Kaizen principle, what we call continuous improvement, again, in the supply chain is a popular research, is a qualitative research. In terms of feedback, continuous improvement is qualitative research. If you don't like mathematical numbers, then you can do continuous improvement, which is the qualitative research. Security and data privacy includes the encryption, compliance, and privacy regulation, etc. If you do qualitative research, training and adoption, readiness in technology, supply chain readiness, technology readiness, using different kind of theoretical lens, the technology acceptance models, or, theory of planned behavior, different kind of the theoretical underpinnings for those research projects. And monitoring and maintenance, regularly monitor the performance of digital twins, perform necessary maintenance to ensure accurate and reliable for your project. Okay, so human capital development, again, this is not my area, but it's one possibility for you to do research, investigate the skill sets, training needed for the workforce in highly digitized technological advance in the supply chain, or mining or different kind of sector in for your project, right? So that's human capital development, okay? Now, do you know ESG? ESG is not something, the name of food, right? So ESG is environmental, societal, and governance in supply chain. So company builds sustainable supply chain, the extension of sustainable supply chain, now supply chain ESG. So in the last 12 months, quite a lot of papers, supply chain ESG in Asia, Asia Pacifics, dealing with the compliance thing. Now, they can make the supply chain operation not just future ready, but also powerful force for good. How can they do this? Net zero initiative, and was established by Sustainable Development Goals by 2050. It's the optimal decision making. They say, oh, by 2050, we can achieve the net zero initiative. Carbon neutral product production, supply chain is very important. So finance, accounting, and supply chain, they're all triple helix models. That is supply chain ESG. Supply chain without working very closely with accounting and finance people, no, it's very hard. So that triple helix framework, accounting, supply chain, and finance, they work together to deal with the ESG. Cycle, by driving resource efficient business model and ecosystem. Trust, by mitigating negative environmental and society impact. Okay, so if you look at that's example reference list, a lot of my projects. So if you look at my list of my publications here, related to sustainability and supply chain here, okay. So if you look at first paper about Journal of Cleaner Production in terms of the food waste, second paper about food waste, and the third paper about supply chain, big data, supply chain, social media. Number 4, about during COVID, that's why I mentioned to you guys, one paper already published in 2022, which is the Q1, about social media user perspective on the supply chain positivity amongst negativity during COVID-19, panic buying in Australia. And my doctorate student published together with me in terms of public procurement. And number 6, my collaborators in Indonesia, they published it about green supply chain, right? Green supply chain, adopting enterprise resource planning technology. And this my paper published in the research agenda for supply chain management 4.0, which was 2022. So be able to download, read tonight about the research agenda for supply chain management 4.0. Okay, now, and then what we talk about, this is the following papers about food retail. That's the first paper I mentioned to you, Coles and Woolworths. You can have a look. 2 case studies, Coles and Woolworths in Australia food retail supply chain. And I also published with my doctorate student. He's now as a dean in the Faculty of Technology, Industrial Technology at Muhammadiyah Malang, UMM, Universitas Muhammadiyah Malang. So, Pak Ilyas Masudin. So, my paper publishing in the halal supply chain, halal food supply chain, halal logistics, okay? So, halal logistics can be done in particular halal pharmaceutical or halal cosmetics, for example. We can do that particular research, especially you got logistics department. So that's one good study in terms of halal logistics performance. And the last 3 papers, I think this, I just show it to you, very relevant to you if you want to download some papers. Now, can I just share one more video, 1 second? So this is very important for all of you to take notes, please, in terms of 10 tips for managing and supply chain, please have a look this. Okay, just want to see where is that. Yes, can everybody see that screen?
Performance sometimes feels like juggling. So this week I'm going to share my top 10 tips to boost your logistics performance. Coming right up. So this week I'm going to share 10 tips. How have I picked those 10 tips? I get asked a lot by people, what's the right sort of thing to focus on to improve my logistics performance? And these are probably the most common 10 that I can come up with, the 10 that really help boost performance. And how do I know that? Well, if you've been on this channel for a while, you know I've been consulting to companies all over the world for about 30 years now. And these are the 10 that seem to offer the most boost in performance. So I'm going to run through 10. I'm going to keep the best till last. And right at the end, I'll share some additional resources for you to help you get better results. Apologies for glancing down, but a whole bunch of notes here to make sure I don't forget anything for you. Okay, so what's number one? You might be doing some of these already, but I'm sure you're going to find a couple of these tips useful. Inventory management. Oh, you'd be saying, surely people know how to do inventory management these days. There's a lot of companies still not getting it right. And if you're concerned about your inventory management, maybe you're getting lots of stock outs, maybe you've got a lot of excess stock, start off with the simple stuff, do your ABC analysis, but don't do it just by product and product group, do it by line item as well. And then start checking things like reorder points and minimum order quantities and pack sizes as well. So many companies that I deal with on a day-to-day basis, they're still getting that wrong. And I'll throw in another one, master data. So many people still don't have accurate master data, which is vital for managing your inventory properly, managing your storage and so on. Okay, number 2. Transport fleet optimization. If you're running your own transport fleet, and if you've got more than about 6 vehicles, you ought to be using some sort of software to help optimize the use of that fleet. Routing and scheduling software, it's generally called. That's going to help you optimize all the delivery times, the delivery windows, the capacity of the vehicles, the time utilization, and you're going to see some benefits. If you've got a fleet of 20 or 30 vehicles, absolutely you should be doing it, and you're going to get some massive savings by doing that. I should add that there are videos on all of these specific topics on the channel, so just use the search feature to look for them. But right now, number 3, supply chain strategy. I think the last time I surveyed on this, something like 40% of companies still didn't have a documented supply chain strategy. And I don't mean it has to be war and peace. Very often it's just a one-pager which identifies the very clear objectives, the enablers, the KPIs, the targets for the supply chain. And why is that so important? Because it gets everybody across all different functions in the organization focused on the right outcomes. So that is really, really important. Supply chain strategy. Get everybody on the same page, heading towards the same results. Warehouse design. We get asked here at Logistics Bureau a lot to help people with warehouse designs. It's very often because they're moving to a new facility, a greenfield site, and they need to work out the size of the facility and the layouts and so on. It may be that they're going to lease a new facility and they're trying to understand what size it should be. It may be even trying to improve an existing facility. But one of the things that people get wrong all of the time is they find the facility first, or they find the land first before working out exactly what they need. And what do I mean by that? When you're designing a warehouse, you design from the inside out. You look at the storage requirements, the handling requirements, you work out the footprint and the ideal height, and then you know the size of the warehouse to go and look for. Without doing that, you're generally going to end up with the wrong size facility. And I've seen some horrendous results over the years. So make sure you get the sequence of events right. Number 5, logistics outsourcing. If you're thinking of finding a new 3PL, going to the market to find a new partner, one of the things you've got to do is to allow plenty of time to do that. if you can, 5 or 6 months. It's quite a lengthy process to go through documenting your needs, going out to the market, finding potential partners, going through a tendering process, a request for a proposal, whatever you're doing, going through the evaluation. That's quite a lengthy process, and I still see a lot of people rushing it. 3 months is rushing it. Think 4, 5, 6 months if you can. You might even want to think about different techniques of finding those 3PL partners. And here at Logistics Bureau, we utilise a process that we call collaborative tendering, which is really good. We find it ends up with a much better result. So if you want to know a little bit more about that, reach out to me and I'll tell you how afterwards. Number 6, freight tendering. Freight costs are going up all over the place. Very often people want to go to the market, go out to tender again to try to reduce their freight costs. It's not always about the freight rate. What do I mean by the freight rate? The cost per tonne, the cost per pallet, the cost per carton. Very often it's actually about the task that you're outsourcing. And what I say to people is go through a sort of a process mapping exercise from start to finish, all the interfaces where you're dealing with your freight carriers, and work out exactly what service you should be buying from them, the activities that you're asking them to perform, the type of rate structures that you're paying, the sort of vehicles that they're using. And just by that process, you could very easily identify lots of errors. I've seen some really easy quick wins where companies have been asking their freight providers to perform a certain task, and they've been forcing the freight carrier to incur extra costs by what they're asking for. It can be how the freight is presented, it could be times of day for pickups, could be anything. So there's lots of simple ways to try and reduce your freight cost. It's generally not about attacking the rate, it's about making the task simpler. So that was freight tendering. Number 7, performance management. Do you have the right KPIs in place? Oh, I've seen mountains of KPIs over the years. My number 1 tip would be to keep it simple. At each level in the organisation, I recommend having about 3 KPIs. So maybe the CEO is going to see 3 supply chain logistics KPIs, and so on, cascading down. Obviously, as you get into the warehouse manager and supervisors, they're going to have very specific KPIs for their areas of responsibility, but not everybody needs to see 100. Try to keep it simple. So KPI is really important. Make sure also that you understand the targets that you should be trying to achieve. It's all well and good saying we want to have, we're going to measure our pick rates or we're going to measure our inventory accuracy, but unless you know what good looks like, how do you know if you're performing well or not? So benchmarking is a really good way to do that. Benchmarking is not that simple. Just reach out if you need some help with that. But it's really valuable to know how you stand in the marketplace, how your performance compares to your competitors and like industry. And that enables you really to understand what's possible, what's the size of the prize potentially. So the right KPIs and benchmarking. Let me get my fingers right, 8. Distribution network. Yes, lots of people still have problems with distribution networks. They tend to have grown up over time. That's part of the problem that I see. And if you're not checking your distribution network every couple of years, giving it a little bit of a health check, it's probably misaligned. Why? Because you probably had changes in your customer base, in your product range, your channels to market, and it's probably not as efficient as it could be. And you end up with customers being serviced from the wrong facilities. You're holding the wrong products in different facilities. Now you could end up with puddling, as they call it, puddling of product, where you get much higher stock levels in certain facilities than others, and then you've got to have transfers. It can upset freight costs into facility and out to customer. So a bit of a health check on your distribution network is well worthwhile, and particularly if there have been changes in your distribution network. So have a look at that. Number 9, sales and operations planning. I was going to say most companies have nailed this. They haven't. Most companies think they have. And they have some form of sales and operations planning in place, but some is very rudimentary. It's either not a complete process, it can be missing core functions and engagement. And one of the Let me give you an example of that. One of the hardest things in a commercial organization is getting people to own the sales forecast. If you're still got problems with that, your sales and operations planning process is probably flawed. So do look at the sort of a monthly cycle of your sales and operations planning. Who's involved, what decisions are taking place at the various meetings through the month, and the outcome of it particularly. Are you getting a good result from it? It's not hard to fix. So do have a look at your S&OP. And then finally, number 10. What do you reckon number 10 is? It's my favourite. Number 10 is customer and product profitability. Again, a huge opportunity area for most organisations. Most organisations are very good at measuring performance in aggregate. So you might know your supply chain costs as a percentage of sales, your logistics costs, warehousing costs, transport costs, and so on. Not a lot of organisations know their cost as a percentage of sales or their actual costs per unit, down to per order, per item, per customer, per region. Knowing that is an absolute goldmine of finding opportunity in your supply chain. Imagine if I'm not trying to do a product placement here, I'll hide the brand. Imagine I'm selling these, by boxes of 100 into a metro area, and I'm selling little packets of 5 into a rural area. The cost of actually getting that product to the customer varies considerably. It's known as cost to serve. If you don't understand that and what margin remains, so every time you're selling these, you've got gross margin applicable to the product, you then start peeling off all the costs of servicing your customers. You've got to make sure that there's still some margin remaining on that by the time it gets to the customer. And without understanding that profitability analysis, you just don't know. And I don't want to scare you here, but I have seen organisations with 78% of their customer orders making a loss. On average, most commercial organisations are losing money on 10% of their orders, and it's not hard to fix. That's the beauty of it. The challenge is identifying it first. So do have a look at customer profitability, product profitability. That one particularly, if you want a hand, just let me know. Okay, so there's my top 10. If you want some additional information on those, do look around the channel, use the search feature. There are more detailed videos on all of these. But if you really want some help in your organisation fixing some of these.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that's the last video presentation about 10 tips. So Bob, he's a logistic bureau operating in different locations. Logistic bureau giving a lot more projects, consultancy for any particular projects, expert in logistics and supply chain, right? And giving you very, very good practical tips for the businesses, enterprises, the way they manage their supply chain in a digital era, okay? All right, so thank you once again for listening. Just want to conclude today, and I'm more than happy to take any questions, comments and feedbacks. Please, I just can see there are 2 or 3 questions there in the chat box. I'm more than happy to answer those. And anyway, thank you once again for listening. And I just want to hand over to Ibu moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ferry, for the lecture. That was a comprehensive lecture for us. And then after that, we have seen some questions on the comment sections.
Yes.
For the students, untuk mahasiswa nanti kalau mau nanya bisa pakai bahasa Indonesia, nggak apa-apa. Nanti tulis di kolom chat bahasa Indonesia, terus nanti bisa kita translate. Or maybe I heard that you
I
can
can
use
understand.
bahasa ya.
I can understand. Yes.
Oke. Oke, jadi nggak
Bahasa
apa-apa.
Jawa, bahasa Palembang, no problem.
Oke.
Yes.
Ya, silakan untuk
Okay.
mahasiswa juga, mungkin ada yang mau bertanya, bisa chat di kolom section, atau kalau mau bertanya langsung, nanti bisa raise your hand.
Sure.
Okay. Before we are going to the question and answer section, sir, There are some questions. First from Pak
Yes.
Miftahul Arifin. He asked,
Yes.
as a technology advance, digitalization has become a critical aspect in the transformation of the supply chain industry. General artificial intelligence with its extensive capabilities in big data analysis and decision automation,
Yes.
GAI with these extensive capabilities in big data analysis and decision automation, how can GAI strengthen the digitalization process and effectively address the challenges faced by supply chain in the future?
Okay.
You
It's
can,
very good question.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this is a very good project or thesis or maybe master or PhD thesis. But I just can give you some suggested answers in relation to Gen AI, in relation to the supply chain analytics and supply chain automation, right? Helping for the decision making. So Gen AI in the supply chain digital era is a tool, basically helping for the operation and supply chain managers, especially if you have a big data with text mining. All those kind of data can be converted into the analytics, right? And again, for the decision making, it really can be done for the supply chain professionals or in a supply chain or operation manager, right? And the good thing for the Gen AI in a supply chain space, it is something it helps a lot actually in terms of the businesses, not necessarily in a multinational corporation, but also in a small, medium enterprises. Okay. Now, if you look at the next solution, if you read the paper published in 2024 in, I think in February, under European Journal of Operation Research, and the other paper published in the Supply Chain Management and International Journal. And those papers actually explain and giving a bibliometric literature in terms of Gen AI in a supply chain, and what the research opportunity and the future research agenda in the next opportunities for the scholars to do that. Now, first thing actually for that implication for Gen AI can be done in any sectors for manufacturing or for third-party logistic providers for upstream or downstream or end-to-end supply chains. That's a good thing for helping for the decision making, and can be done in optimization, can be done in terms of the dashboard, key performance indicators, producing from the Gen AI for any enterprises, businesses, and then can help you in terms of confessions or the stock keeping units or managing inventory level. So if you look at the modeling, because I'm not a mathematician, so if you have a European Journal of Operation Research or Management Science Journal, which is top tier international journals, they have a lot of modeling in terms of simulations in that particular study. So if you have a look those papers, and you can have a look, good for you to start thinking about your PhD or doctor of philosophy if you want to. Okay, so the challenges, yes, definitely. And the process, and in terms of effectively producing the output, deliverables can be done, producing dashboard, assisting for the supply chain performance indicators. This is something helping a lot for the supply chain professionals. Looking back some of the literature, helping us, giving some of validation or verification model at the different stages, really. Okay, so that is the first question. Now, the second question is from maybe moderator can help for this? Is it
Okay.
from Muhammad Rafi?
Yes, it's from Rafi, sir. He asked
Okay.
about the most advanced integration between digital technologies such as AI, machine learning, and advanced analytics, and supply chain management that you have encountered. Additionally, with technologies, would you recommend we start learning to stay competitive when we enter the industry? It's about the technology
Very good.
advance, maybe.
Yeah, very good question. Very good questions. So you know the industry 4, and we are entering in society 5.0. The existing technology in there is correct. AI, machine learning, and you can see IoT, digital twins, robotics, right? AR, augmented reality, virtual reality, right? So if you look at these existing technology in the past 5 years, I can tell you, each you can have more than 20 papers for each. Even now, for machine learning and deep learning, now we call deep learning, a lot papers producing in the past 8 months. Different kind of journal, not necessarily supply chain and international journal, but also European journal, international journal products and economics, enterprise system journal, under IS journals, even under IEEE journal from engineering field, and there's so many papers there. In terms of that second question, technology recommended, if you look at different classes of the industry, we do have micro or family small businesses, medium enterprises, and then we got global large enterprises and multinational corporations. That this is start with the technological readiness first. Before you're talking so many advanced technology, maybe they're not ready yet, okay? So you have to think about it in terms of technology adoption, technology readiness, and, doing feasibility study analysis, because with the board directors or, the investors, the business ownership, make sure they need to look at the feasibility study, readiness, staff, maybe finance, in terms of investment or assets, etc. And whether or not you're ready, and you have a projection and you have your business process mapping in terms of utilizing those kind of technologies, okay? Now, based on that feasibility study analysis, you can look at the discounted cash flow, how much and what is the payback periods in terms of that technology, and what is the ROI, return on investment, for your business. So even though you got cash, it's a $5 million, for example, okay? And looking back, whether that's cash, you need to look at the top priority for the businesses. You can use the multi-criteria decision analysis with particularly spending analysis. The spending analysis, checking discounted cash flow, when you learn engineering economy, looking back with the interest rate, looking at payback period, looking back with the what we call a depreciation schedule, etc. That's a financial feasibility analysis you're looking at. And you can look at the technology readiness in terms of the workforce, and in terms of the vendors availability, in terms of suppliers availability, in terms of the need or urgency of the businesses, and different kind of priorities you really need to deal with, okay? So that is something I just recommend for you, because the decision making is not something you have to do fast, but of course you really need to do, I think, what we call feasibility study analysis and readiness paradigm in a technology. Now the integration, digital technology, what I just mentioned in supply chain, the research now for 3 years is good for doctorate student or postdoc, or not postdoc, sorry. Doctorate student can be done, for the topic integration, IoT, sensors. I think I mentioned in the research agenda, point number 4, any kind of sector in the supply chain. You can start with the digital farm, which is the agriculture or digital agriculture. You can use the integration IoT sensors and then drone technology and then machine learning in terms of predictive analysis for weather forecasts, for the water utilization in the farm, and whether you can use that time series data, maybe, cannot help you with that. A panel data cannot help you with that. And you can use the integrations of the machine learning or deep learning with the IoT or what we call digital twins. Okay. Now that's a higher level because I'm not computer scientist, right? So the supply chain, if you belong to the school of science, you're working very closely with the computer science. And then we have a cybersecurity. I'm not a cybersecurity expert, right? Supply chain is a one domain, can be supported any scholars, scientists from School of Science, computer science, or maybe electrical engineering, producing in terms of that tracking and traceability, satellite or etc., image processing, etc. Right? I'm not engineer. Well, I was an industrial engineering scholar, but I'm not expert in electrical engineering. Okay. And the third is a business side. So I'm expert in business side, the supply chain. And the fourth will be done in, I think I mentioned before, accounting and finance, dealing with the ESG, dealing with discounted cash flow, all depreciation schedule. You really need to work very hard with the finance people. Okay. So that can help you with that, right? So there's several consideration factors you have to answer that particular, the first question, integration. Right. The next question is
excuse me, sir. Maybe
yes.
we can deliver the question to the Yulinda Uswatun Hasanah that has been raised hand before.
Yes.
Before
Okay, sure.
going
Yep.
next to the comment section. Okay, to
Yep,
Mrs.
that's fine.
Yulinda, time is yours to
Okay.
deliver the question.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Monggo.
Good
Silakan.
afternoon, Monggo. Good afternoon, Mr. Freji, and thank you for having us today, and thank you for the time. Okay, I want to ask about we have undergraduate students right now, and could you give us some suggestion or give us some motivation? What approach should we take to make it easier for us to learn the latest technology? Because our students, and especially for us, is we have a limited ability to understand the computer programming. So
Yeah.
could you motivated us and our students especially why we need to learn the technology? Thank you.
Great questions. Well, any degrees, any formal learning in higher educations, technology ingredient is a must, okay? Regardless you learn in business or even in arts and humanities or education, definitely technology digitalization is a must. Not necessarily sustainability, unfortunately. Sustainability, yes, sustainability, but technology is a must. Okay. Otherwise, really behind, far behind, because the industry, and you can see the ChatGPT, Copilot, any kind of Gen AI is moving very fast. Now with the human-centric, with the people, with the students, graduates, if you, that's a curriculum innovators, you don't have any technology advancement in there, unfortunately, we are not ready. So forget about the work ready, because, do you think that the company really want to recruit people if they don't have any technology advancement skills? Okay. Any basic knowledge about technology. Good for sustainability, good for the environmental impact, not technology. Sorry, need to be balanced. That's why we have in Society 5, okay, or Industry 5.0. So Industry 4.0, without human-centric, the only technology. The 5, we have human-centric design. It's supply chain ecosystem, okay? So yeah, so I think that technology is a must. If you ask me about the scoring system between 70-80% scoring, a technology is a must. I'm not suggesting you have to ask a student to do computer programming, or it depends, you know, because there's a supply chain that is that belong to the school of what? If you have that something school science, computer science, they maybe learn one supply chain, but they have a lot more producing advanced technology, you know, creating modeling or types of sensors, image processing, you know, virtual reality, etc. So I can't produce those, right? So that's the thing, because this become multidisciplines, right? I'm not suggesting you really know everything, but that is we call collaboration paradigm. Supply chain, it cannot stand alone, right? Computer science, it cannot stand alone because they produce systems. It cannot be used anything for the supply chain or business process model. It's useless. You with me? That something is used, that kind of that technology, the equipments and systems can be done in the collaboration manner, collaborative action. Okay. All right. So that's hopefully answer your question. So when any questions?
Sorry, sir. I have one more question. Can I throw it away?
Maybe we got few, because I think the thing is
Oh,
in 18 minutes I have to go to another
okay.
events.
Okay,
I'm
thank you.
sorry, Ibu Rati. So I think yeah, I
Oh,
think your
okay, okay.
time is in 18 minutes I have to go to another event. So unfortunately have to just go back to you. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that, because I can't extend because I have another in the Microsoft Teams waiting for me in 18 minutes. I have to go to the Microsoft Teams.
Oh, okay. If there is one more question, can you give a time? Quick, sir? Or we just end here?
I think we got the chatting box here.
Mm.
We got quite few.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
whether unless I can skip the other
Mm.
2 or 3 or 4,
Okay.
unfortunately. But usually each I can take maybe about 2 or 3 minutes to answer. So it could be another 15 minutes,
Okay.
because you got photo sessions in the last,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. That's it.
I don't know, because I just need to check, because usually we take about
Mm.
one questions about between 1 and 2 minutes.
Okay,
So I
maybe.
think unless I can answer very fast, maybe 45 seconds,
Yes,
and
from
then
the
I don't mind with that.
okay. The last question is maybe from the comment sections. I have gathered the question. It's about the strategy in logistics using the technology, sir. Especially for the outlet invoice, stock-based delivery tracking, and also stock tracking. It's about the technology in supply chain. And then
Mhm.
the exact question is, there is some question here that asks about the ERP technology and modules, if you can give the answer.
Okay, so I think that's question from Diva Udani, saying that logistic cost, isn't it? Strategic supply chain. Of course, strategic supply chain can reduce logistic costs, okay? In any countries. So how? Well, how in terms of how utilize the technology and to ensure that the process to manage inventory, no stock out, and no high inventory, because you got high inventory. Say, for example, you're selling the food and all any perishable product, if you have the inventory problems, that's something become costly for the companies, for example. Okay, that's a logistic cost, an inventory cost. Now, another case study in terms of what is a concrete example in terms of the industry, whether they succeed to implement that strategy. Well, many. If you look at my papers published in the International Journal of Agile System Management and Supply Chain Management and International Journal, you'll be able to see the success story for the technology tracking traceability, barcoding system, and also the optimization modeling, the simulation, digital twins for the water usage in the Australia farming system. You know, they can improve the supply chain effectiveness and efficiency. So this particular strategic supply chain in terms of technology usage, in terms of technology adoption, in terms of using the technology to minimize stock, minimize costs, improve the efficiency, improve in terms of the customers' satisfaction level. For example, if you purchase online, if you don't have any kind of technology to track where's the parcel at this moment, when is exactly estimated time arrival. So if you look at the geospatial analysis can be done in terms of analyzing where is it located, when exactly the customer can get the parcel, you know, and you can use the AI to predict, to forecast, you know, when the estimated ETA for the parcel you'll be able to receive it at. So that is a question from Diva. In terms of question from Leonardus Adityo Toto Pratomo, in terms of how to track outlets invoices and stock based on expiring dates, batch number in the ERP system, what is the name of the module? Very good question in terms.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Because there is a time limit, maybe we are going to go to the next question from Mr. Andi Prademon, because I think
Okay, sure.
he has an urgent question. Excuse me, sir.
Sorry.
Okay, sure.
Thank
Okay,
you very much.
that's fine.
Thank you
Yeah,
very much,
thank you.
Pak Raffi. Yeah. Pak Ferry, hello. How are you?
Hello, how are you? Very well, thank you, Pak Andi.
Okay. Actually, I just want to have a very closing question. Like everyone in here is excited to have hosting you in EPP and ITTP. So, are you willing to have a collaboration and supervising us in terms of supply chains digitalization? Or
Yes.
maybe some of us wants to go to a PhD or doctoral study in
Yes,
your
yes.
university.
Of course,
Would you like
definitely.
to supervise?
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
maybe that's it.
This is starting points, yeah, Pak Andi, because look, the logistic department is exactly the same field. You know that you're expert in the computing technology, definitely. A lot of research can be done in that field, in terms of the doctorate, the postdoc, in terms of fellowship, and you know, Australian awards and providing scholarship. And every year, Australian awards, since after COVID, they produce a scholarship for Australian awards to do a doctorate scholarship, you know, that's something we can discuss more, what the proposal for the supply chain, logistics, and then in relation to AI, or maybe in relation to simulation or modeling, or what kind of sector can be done. Could be in Australia, very popular in Australia, agriculture, which is the agribusiness. Is something is the number one top priority for that. And the number two is the climate change in terms of the climate resilience. I think you know that that particular connexy, yeah. So we be able to think about it in terms of the climate resilience, in using digitalization, the technology orientations, and number three, in terms of decarbonization. decarbonization one particular element to reduce carbon uh, carbon counting and ESG in the supply chain. And again, for the technology, what happened in the services supply chain? There's a one more research project. Services supply chain, can be done in hospital, can be done in the education sector, can be done in hospitality or hotel industry, right? So that is a service supply chain. So what is the existing technologies there? That something one element can be done, what improvement can be, informed to the researchers. It is something we can just, explore a lot more collaboration in terms of the Australia-Indonesia, the connection, a connexing, and then DFAT, which is Department Foreign and Trade from Australia, or maybe from DICTI or Hiba Bersai, which is a short-term project or the medium and long-term projects, right? And since I'm expert in that particular field and in having good experience in the research, so that's something is a good actually, Pak Andi, yeah, to explore.
Thank you so much, for Ferry. So
You're
actually,
welcome.
here, I'm excited about this. It
Yes.
doesn't need to be in the supply chain digitalization as well. It could be like multidisciplinary to be a doctoral student or master student.
I think I cannot hear you. What is the last? Can you repeat
I
again?
think it doesn't need to be in supply chain and logistics things. So we can
Yes,
go a
yes.
multidisciplinary things under
Yes,
digitalization.
yes,
Yeah,
correct.
that's a really good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. As long as the alignment in terms of the expertise and then alignment in terms of the needs and capabilities alignments, because I won't be available, like to deal with the electrical, for example, dealing with maybe very high level in terms of technical, but in terms of supply chain itself, logistics, transportation, operation, production, quality management, all the industrial engineering field, that's fine. Okay, industrial engineering, so different kind of field areas expertise.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ferry. Before we end this session, maybe Hanin or we can lead to the photo session first because Mr.
We still have
Ferry.
about 3 minutes if you want to
Oh,
answer the last,
okay.
maybe that's okay. I'll
Okay, if
just
you
try
have.
to be quickly so everybody can okay, so I
Okay,
think
okay, sir.
the last is Leonardo. That your question, I think how many you got there? Is it 2 questions? Is that the last one, Leonardo, in terms of concrete module?
Yeah, okay. Leonardo is okay. But actually, I think it is the same question,
Or
sir.
Roshid Bana Aroman? Which one you want to choose? I just want
I
to choose
think
quick one.
Dinda Natasha, sir, because she asked about the implementation of halal logistic in Australia.
Right. Halal logistic, halal supply chains, and my doctoral student already completed back then in 2014 about Australian halal meat supply chain. She developed the framework for the Australian halal meat back then about 10 years ago when he's a doctoral dissertation. He's from Malaysia, right? He's now, I think, has a head of program at UiTM in Shah Alam campus in Kuala Lumpur. So his thesis was about the Australia halal meat supply chain, from the framework, halal integrity, with the endorsement with the MUI, right, in Indonesia, JAKIM in the Asian, maybe in Singapore or in Malaysia, with the endorsement with the halal logo, with the halal principles, and with the tracking traceability until the final consumers. The only thing for the halal logistics, so many projects going on, not necessarily in the logistic, but also in the trust and commitment for the consumers, global consumers. If you export meat, you know, or maybe cosmetics from Australia, or maybe a dairy product to the Middle East, and whether or not the global consumers trust the product actually from Australia, whether or not you got logo with the Sharia law principle logo in your packaging, and who endorsed them, and you can measure the halal integrity research. So halal integrity is already there. It's 10 years ago. So my paper with my doctoral student already published on the Journal of Islamic Marketing, which is, I think, Q1 or Q2, I cannot remember, right? You can have a look and read that paper, right? The Journal of Islamic Marketing in terms of Australia logistics, halal meat supply chain, AHMSC, Australia Halal Meat Supply Chain model. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Hopefully answer your question, but Dinda. And then the quick one in terms of the raw sheet, I think is one more in terms of the unskilled. This is related with my project many years ago, because unskilled and inexperienced staff is very important, because we still have a workforce in the organization, in the industry. So again, unskilled and inexperienced staff is one of major concern for that. Okay. So I think once again, thank you so much for having me today. And once again, all the best to you all. So I just hand over to moderator, the chair. Thank you. Have a
Okay.
wonderful day.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ferry. I think we are going back to the MC first for the photo session, because Mr. Ferry has limit time. Hanin and maybe you can lead the photo session.
Okay. Before we end this event, let's move to the documentation session. Okay. There are at least 3 or 5 photos that we are gonna take. In first pose, just smile, like a formal, semi-formal first pose. Then the second pose, all attendants can use a logistic greeting like this. You can lift your finger like this and smile. Then the last pose, the third pose, is a free form. You can use your best pose to act in the camera. Okay, let's just begin the first pose. Everybody smile and give the perfect pose. Okay. Okay, I will count 1, 2, 3. Then the committee will screenshot the screen. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Smile.
Okay,
Okay.
next, there is 3 slides here, yes. We go into the second slide. Just give your best smile, guys. Please turn on your camera, please. To our take the documentation. The second slide, smile, 1, 2, 3. The last slide, smile, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Next, the second pose. Give the lucky stick like this, your hands up, like this, and smile. First slide, 1, 2, 3. Second slide, 1, 2, 3. Third slide, 1, 2, 3. And last pose. The last pose, you can pose like whatever you want. Okay, we go into the first slide. Just smile, 1, 2, 3. Second slide, 1, 2, 3. Third slide, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Hanin and Rui, and thank you again. Thank you for Mr. Berry. If you have if you have another session or another discussion, please we can let you to leave the room or you can stay in the room. Thank you very much.
Sure. Maybe I still stay, but the thing is I bring my laptop. Thank you. And all
Okay.
best to you all. And then maybe I'll see you one day in face to face. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
See you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
For the best
Okay.
question, how about
Yeah,
for the best
okay.
question?
Thank you everyone for the discussion session. Maybe I will give you some sebentar spotlight. Okay, Hanin and Rui. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining this lecture today. And then before we end the discussion session, I will give you some short quick about the materials that has been delivered by Mr. Ferry. The first one is the technology used to integrate the complexity of product, process, and stakeholder and other things involved in the supply chain. And also the complexity is increasing with the type of product and each way to care, such as perishable product and other. And also there are some scopes or fields that can be future research on the supply chain digitalization. And also for the best participants, okay, for I think maybe for the best participant we can choose for the comment section because because Mr. Ferry has a limit time, so I and the MC will choose the best participant questionnaires. The first one is, I think, for Mr. Pak Miftahul Arifin. And then the second one, I think, because in an interesting question, I think from Muhammad Rafi, and then the last one from Dinda Natasha. Congratulations to every participant that has been chosen to be the best participant. Okay. Okay, we are going to the next session and I will deliver this discussion to the MC as the end of discussion. Thank you everyone for joining this lecture. I hope this lecture can give you much knowledge and new things and also an inspiration for the future research. To Rui and Hanin, I am giving back to you as an MC. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Arin. Thank you very much, Mr. Ferry, for your great explanation and information, and Mrs. Arin for accompanying us. Right, everybody, this is great. All the knowledge that we get today are so beneficial for us.
We hope we can make another event like this because every knowledge that we got today are very full of experience, a great experience that will lead us to way of successful. With me, Rui Almer.
And Hanin Pia represent all the entire committee in charge. We would like to say goodbye. Hopefully, we can meet again in another event. Goodbye. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, everyone.